What's up? Hello, Boo Boo. Victor's come along as well. We got Isaac. Isaac? Why did I say Isaac? Isaac Mags. Good to see you, mate. Did Haaland to Morris yesterday evening. I like it. Rami on hotel Wi-Fi. It's good blood. I'm well. How's the family? How's everyone doing? Thank you, Jacob Kim. That's very kind of you. I'm absolutely flattered by that. Thank you very much. Yeah. Game week 28, eh? Double game week for Bournemouth and Luton, followed by a blank in 29. Big old blanky blank in game week 29. It's going to be very exciting, isn't it? I'll talk about my team first, shall I? I'll talk about my team. I'm pretty much sold on what I'm going to do, except for maybe the odds and ends of how I do it. So I'm almost certain that I'm going to bring in two Bournemouth defenders. So I'm going to bring in Neto in goal and then Kirkez or Smith into my defence. That's going to be my two moves. The question is, which Bournemouth defender do I go for and who do I sell? I'm still a little bit undecided on that, but those are kind of my main transfers. One thing I have that has sprung to my mind though, right? Might be a thought that not many people have put in yet. I don't know. One thing that has sprung to my mind, I think most people now know what they're going to do for this and next week, right? Whether you're going to play your free hit or not next week, or whether you're going to just play through without the free hit, you know? But the thing that's really got me at the moment is Game Week 30. Who is the best captain for Game Week 30 looking at this list? Let me know in the chat. Who do you think the best captain is? Because I think it's Mo Salah, and I don't think a lot of people are going to own him for Game Week 30 when he is probably the best captain, which scares me a little bit. I got to say, scares me a little bit. I guess putting Son up against Salah is not the end of the world, but I would probably say it is Mo Salah. And I kind of have a thing in FPL. I don't know about you guys, but I kind of have a thing in FPL where I like to own the best captain week on week. So maybe you Haaland sellers are doing the right thing, because Haaland to Morris opens up, what, like 10 million? Which means you can buy Mo Salah in Game Week 30. The one thing I would say is head-to-head, Game Week 29, 28 alone. Oh, I've gone all wrong on my fixtures here. Head-to-head, Game Week 28 alone, I think the points between Haaland and Morris will be quite similar. I genuinely do think that's going to be quite similar. Because the Liverpool-Man City game is usually quite high scoring. Both teams usually score a couple of goals in that game. Like 3-2, 4-1 is a very common scoreline for that game. So head-to-head this week, there ain't much in it. But of course, with Morris having a fixture in 29, the move makes sense. You know, that third fixture compared to Haaland's one totally makes sense. And obviously Haaland's not the best captain this week. And then if it enables you to get Mo Salah for Game Week 30, excuse me, when Salah is by far and away the best captain, I think it makes sense. And then 31, what have we got? Liverpool, Sheffield United. I mean, he's probably the best captain that week as well. Man City have got Villa. So Salah's probably the best captain in 30 and 31. Looking at that. Yeah, 31, Liverpool, Sheffield United. I mean, I want Mo Salah for that one. Game week 32, what are we looking at here? Liverpool, Man United. It's not bad, is it? But Man City, Crystal Palace, early kickoff. Could say Salah's the best captain, 32. Crystal Palace, Man City, yeah, and it probably goes back to Haaland, captain 33. So, yeah. I'm almost like free hit 29, wildcard 30 territory. I must say. That seems mental to say that, doesn't it? Free hit 29, wildcard 30 territory. Wow. But I think I'm quite close. Anyway. Go back to my team. Darwin will be fun. Darwin will be fun. That is right, he will be. I think you've got to have them both. After Game Week 30, you kind of really have to have them both. After 31, sorry. Rami on Hotel Wi-Fi, I definitely say get Neto because he's good for saves as well. So Kirkez has 1 attacking return all season. Neto is one of the top keepers for saves. So I would say, even if he doesn't keep a clean sheet, Neto will score points, whereas I'm really doubtful of any of the Bournemouth defenders' ability to get points if they don't keep clean sheets. So I think I would I'd get Neto. Mr. T, I've looked at that one. Tommy runs Haaland Morris this week, then Salah next. You don't want to buy Salah next week, surely, because he doesn't play. Maybe 30s when you should do it. Neil's plan is to get Salah as he's taken out Haaland for Solanke. I like it. Shaniel, good morning to you too, my friend. Good morning to you too. Shaniel, good to see you, mate. Boo Boo, update on Solanke. I haven't got anything, mate. I haven't seen anything other than the manager saying it was similar to last week. Similar to last week from what we've seen. Would you bench Bailey for Wolves' Neto? We start with score predictions. Maybe these can help you. Yeah, Saka got subbed at half-time against Sheffield United because he was feeling sick. So that's why he's flagged. I'm sure he'll be fine. I wouldn't sell Havertz, mate. Just keep him. Burke. Who's Burke? I must say, mate, Nikolai, you're in deep if you're talking about Burke. I've no idea who that is. The Luton defender, is it? Reece Burke. Oh, he played against Villa. Yeah, I would say so. Luton are decimated defensively, mate. Yeah, I reckon he does. Would I play him, though? It depends, mate. It depends who else you have, because I don't see Luton getting a clean sheet this week. I don't see it happening. And he's not. He got 1 assist. Oh, that's 10 starts, 2 assists. It's not the worst attacking returns record, is it? It's not the worst. And his XG's not too bad. Estupinian versus Burke. Who has Brighton got? I'm looking at the wrong screen here, aren't I? Brighton have got Forest. Ooh. Chat, what do you think Nikolai should do? Would you start Burke of Luton? I think he's a centre-back, isn't he? He's going to play both games, but he plays for Luton. Or would you start Estupinian, who, as you can see here, has Nottingham Forest? Yeah, I'm really uncertain about the minutes of both. Well, not really uncertain. I just have a doubt in my mind about, what am I saying? Both Smith and Kirkez playing both games. Because the fullbacks, right? Fullbacks in football run more than any other position, right? So if you're going to rotate a player for a double game week, bearing in mind playing Saturday, Wednesday, you're probably going to rotate your fullbacks, which is going to be Adam Smith and Kirkez. So I think both of them have like equal like X-mins, if that makes sense. Whereas Zabarnyi, he's just nailed to play 90. So I've got, Kirkez, Smith and Zabarnyi. I'm deciding between the 3 of them, really, and I can't really get there at the moment. Good morning, Alexandru, my friend. Good morning, Rohith. Good to see you. Right, I'll talk about my score predictions then. Let's get into it. So Man United, Everton. I think it's going to be a tight old game, But I do see Man United winning that one 2-1. Bournemouth, it's kind of a hopeful one, given that I'll be on double Bournemouth defence. But I can see them winning that 3-0. Palace and Luton, I think that'll be even Stevens. I've gone 2-2 in that one. I think both teams leaving quite a bit to be desired, to be honest. I reckon that'll be a draw. Wolves, I think, just edge it against Fulham, purely because they're at home. And Arsenal, I don't know how many clean sheets they've kept on the bounce in the league. I think they win that well. Clean sheets over the last 5 or 6 game weeks they've kept. I think they've probably conceded 1 goal in the last 4 or 5 game weeks, something mental like that. I think they beat Brentford 3-0. Villa and Spurs, I've gone 3-3 in that game. Just with how good Villa are at home, but how good Spurs at scoring goals. So I've gone 3-3. Brighton 2-1 against Forest. West Ham, I think they beat Burnley 3-0. Man City and Liverpool, I've gone 4-3 in that one. I think it's going to be an absolute cracker. It's usually a high-scoring fixture. Chelsea and Newcastle, I've gone a bit of a more dull 1-1. And then Bournemouth, I think, beat Luton 3-2, just with them being at home. I know I've gone quite high-scoring in these games, but as a season so far, I would say it's been quite a high-scoring season, hasn't it? So saying there's going to be lots of goals, I don't think is too outrageous. I do have the top players for expected points according to Draft Time this week. Neto's the top goalkeeper, followed by Kelleher, which is an interesting one considering he's got Man City. Kaminsky, Areola. Don't actually mind Areola this week, although he doesn't have a double, of course. Johnston, Edison, Ramsdale, Leno, Onana, and Steele. Remember, of course, that David Raya does not start for Arsenal this week because he's only on loan from Brentford. Defenders, Kirkez is actually the leading defender in the game for expected points. 6.9 compared to Smith and Zabarnyi on 6.7. I'd say beyond that, I have too much doubt around expected minutes for the Bournemouth defenders. I'd say Smith, Zabarnyi, and Kirkez are your three to look at. Other than that, I think it's going to be tit for tat, really. Mepham, he came on last week when Senesi got injured, but there's been a report in the media that a kid is going to play in defence instead of Mepham, or Bournemouth will go three at the back with, I don't really know. I think the only thing you can guarantee is that Zabarnyi is nailed to start for both games, as long as he doesn't get injured. And Smith and Kirkez, probably better for attacking returns perspective, but probably have slightly less X minutes. 3 Arsenal defenders there. I mean, back to keep a clean sheet against Brentford by the looks of it in Doty, just for the fact he's great from an attacking perspective and has 2 games. Midfielders, Tavernier is actually, according to Draft Time, the top midfielder this week. 7.6 expected points. Odegaard and Saka, 7.4, 7.3. Kluivert, Havertz, Cook, Christie, Barkley, Bowen and Palmer are your top midfielders. And then forwards, we've got Solanke. I mean, no surprise to see him as the top player. 9.7 expected points. Sheffield United and Luton both at home. Semenyo's up there as well. He could be an interesting option this week. Haaland, Morris, Watkins, Ogbene, who I also don't mind, although I don't really think you can pick him above Morris, with Morris being on penalties. Unal, Muniz, Werner and Jackson are your top forwards. And then the big question is, do you triple captain Dom Solanke this week if you've still got it? And I think it's a close one. I really do think there's a bit of uncertainty, that's the word I was looking for. There's a bit of uncertainty over his expected minutes, right? And his just level of performance, given that he's injured. You know, he is definitely carrying an injury. So if I had my triple captain chip, I would look carefully about the chip strategy for the rest of the season, personally. And I'm just going to flash up the fixtures to allow you to look. So one thing I would say is, outside of Dominic Solanke, you have to look at other options to use the triple captain chip, right? And I think if you're not going to use it on Solanke this week, who else would I want to use it on? I would probably say there are 4 players that I would consider using a triple captaincy on outside of Dominic Solanke. I'd say the big 4, basically. Salah, I'd say Son, I'd say Haaland, and I'd say Saka. Those 4, I think you'd feel relatively comfortable triple captaining, right? And looking at the upcoming fixtures, it looks like most of them, in fact, all 4 of those players are likely to have a double in 37. So it's looking like the Tottenham double is going to be Burnley or Man City / Chelsea. The Haaland double, Man City double, Fulham is going to be Tottenham or Brighton alongside that. Salah's going to have Villa and then Fulham or Everton. And Saka is going to have Man United or Wolves, Chelsea. And if you're not free hitting in 29, you're probably going to want to use it in 37. So do you have another opportunity to use a triple captain, I'd ask with that. And when you look at the fixtures that might double in 34, Solanke could have one. Crystal Palace might have one. Everton is that. And Sheffield United. Doesn't fill me with excitement. So looking at opportunities to use your triple captain, it's this week or 37, I reckon. And if you're not planning to use it in 37, I'd give it a go this week. That's my thoughts there. Hopefully those were some useful thoughts for you. What else we got? Clean sheet odds. Here's your clean sheet odds. Bournemouth top, Both their fixtures combined are the best clean sheet odds of the week. 45% in their first fixture, 38% in the second. Arsenal are 50-50 against Brentford. Crystal Palace 40 against Luton. I massively disagree with that, to be honest. Luton seem to be able to score against pretty much anyone. West Ham are 38% against Burnley. Brighton are 36% against Forest. Man United also 36%. Luton, I don't know, 22% in the first game, 13% in the second game. Would you back Luton to keep a clean sheet? Not sure I would, to be honest, mate. Not sure I would. Chelsea, Wolves on 29. Usually I like to say any team below 30% to keep a clean sheet, I would not back them. And that rings true, I think, this week. And I probably wouldn't back Luton either. Well done, Lewis Benila. That is excellent, mate. What else have we got? My team. I'll just go back to my team quickly in case you missed it. I consider selling Haaland, mate. My team, I think I'm going to do a goalkeeper to Neto and a defender to either Adam Smith or Kirkez. And then I'm not going to own a Luton player because looking at my team, I kind of have to free hit in 29. So, yeah, that's my plan. What I'll do, ladies and gents, if obviously I give a priority to members. So if members put their FPL ID in, I will look at their team straight away. But if anyone wants their team reviewed, I'll do 5, and I'll do 5 from the point that I type the message in the chat. So as soon as it goes in, crack your ID in, and I'll take the first 5 teams and do a review. Mohamed's the cut-off. Right. FPL boo-boo. Let's have a look at you, mate. Four, 1, 2, 6. Interesting, mate. Interesting. For you this week, mate, I think I would do Haaland to Morris and Ake to the best Bournemouth defender in your eyes. That's what I'd do this week. I would also probably Martinez to Neto, Foden to Son, Ake to Doty, Darwin to Solanke for a -8. I don't think Foden to Son is worth it. Not this week. I don't think there's going to be enough points between the two of them. I like all the other moves though for a -4. I don't think Son is going to score 4 more points than Foden this week. I don't think it's that different. I like the 3 other moves though, mate. I like the 3 other moves. Hopefully that helps. SJ 111 4,000. Because if you're taking a hit, I think Foden will be alright this week. I think Foden will be alright this week. Right, we're looking at SJ's team. I'd probably do Darwin to Solanke. Ooh, this is tough. What's the assistant manager saying? He's 389 overall, he was at one point. Bloody hell. This guy's 399th overall. Holy moly. Holy moly. Wow. What are your plans, SJ? Before I tell you what to do with your team, right, you're going to have to let me know what you're thinking. Because you're much better at the game than me, clearly. So Maybe Darwin to Solanke, not fancying taking a hit. No, I agree. I think your team is fine. Yeah, I mean, Darwin to Solanke makes sense, doesn't it? I think if you're going into this week without Solanke, you're probably going to take a big fat red arrow. The question is it worth taking a hit elsewhere? I think the only worthy hit is on a defender. I think you could take a hit on a defender. I don't know what you think, but bringing in a Bournemouth defender for a hit could be worth it. Or maybe a Luton defender for a hit could be worth it. If you're planning to use your free, depending on whether you're planning to use your free hit or not. I'd go Solanke, mate. I'd still pick Solanke. The thing is, I'm not sure Neto is really worth a hit here because Areola against Burnley is a really good fixture. And you wouldn't want to play Neto. I guess, SJ, the big question is, are you free hitting next week or not? I think you probably have to, don't you? Looking at your team. Yeah. If you're free hitting in 29, I'd definitely consider a Bournemouth defender for a hit. I would. I'd probably go for a defender rather than goalkeeper because I think Areola is really, really nice for this week. And then the question is it hard? Do you bring in Morris? Do you bring in Solanke? Or do you bring in Semenyo for your captain? Should we have a quick look? Sorry for people that are still waiting for their team reviews, but I mean, come on, this guy's like 300th overall. It's useful for everyone to see what he's doing with his team, I think. What we'll do, we'll just have a look to see if we have any leaks or news around Solanke. I haven't seen many people triple captain in Solanke, I must say. Just lots of people bringing him in by the looks of it. I mean, all the big dogs are captaining Solanke. FPL Fran is a fellow content creator who's doing much better than me. This is how he's lining up. It looks like everyone's captaining Solanke. The thing is, in 300th overall, I don't think you need to be taking risks, mate. I think it's more of a risk to go outside of Solanke than have him, to be honest, mate. It's just my thoughts. I think I'd bring Solanke in for Darwin and captain him. The one thing you do need to, and another point, I don't know if you were in the chat at the time, but the one thing you do need to bear in mind as well, and it's a problem I have, is come game week 29 is easy because you're free hitting him. Most people will have Son, right? Or Watkins to captain. But the problem is game week 30, right? When everyone has their free transfers to sort their team out, etc., etc. Who is the best captain looking at this game week? Most people have already gone through this before. But who is the best captain here for game week 30, right? It's probably Salah against Brighton. And then in game week 31, it's probably Salah against Sheffield United. So, Palmer's decent as well, but it is probably Mo Salah in my opinion. So you probably want Salah come game week 30. And you definitely want him in game week 31. And looking at your team having used 2 wildcards already, you need to get Salah in. Because if you don't have Salah for game week 30 and 31, I think you're in trouble, SJ. I think most people are in trouble, to be honest. So I would leave, you definitely want to leave an opening to get Salah in. And maybe you could do that by, rather than selling, you could sell Haaland. So if you did, you've got funds. You just need a plan to get Salah in, basically, is what I'm trying to say. But if you can do that by bringing in Solanke, I would bring in Solanke this week and consider a Bournemouth defender for a hit. I don't think I can really give you any more info than that, really. I'm going to move on if that's okay. But hopefully that covered enough to give you something to think about. The last thing I want to do is absolutely tell you what to do with your team, because you're higher ranked than me. And ultimately, I'm not. No one knows what's going to happen this week, right? But my mind would be, if I'm 300th overall, I want to be as risk averse as possible. Malte's team, then. What were your plans, Malte? What were you planning to do? No problem at all, mate. I wish you all the best this week. Could definitely win it from that position. What you plan to do with your team, Malte? I would definitely say, well, I don't know. You've already used your free hit, so you can't use it. No free hit. I noticed that. I've noticed that. So your two players you bring in, they have to be playing in Gameweek 29, basically. This is an interesting one, this. Let's see what the assistant says. Tony to Morris? My arse. That's terrible. Yeah, Malte, I think that's probably the best way to go. I do. You kind of sacrifice. I was going to suggest that. It just feels wrong to tell someone not to have Solanke for this week. But I think given the nature of your team, the fact you don't have a free hit, I think you have to do that. Because the problem with obviously bringing in Solanke is he doesn't play next week. I think you do it and captain whoever you feel most comfortable giving the armband to, mate. That's what I think you do. The other question is, you could potentially do Foden to Son instead and just give yourself a bit more cash. Because what I would do, Malte, is make a team that allows you to get Salah in for game week 31. Or 30, sorry. So maybe if you did Foden to Son, could you do Garnacho to Salah the week after? I don't know. You have to work that out yourself. But yeah, probably what I'd say. But I like those moves. Do you just want to have a plan for getting Salah in? But you could use your wild card to do that, I guess. You still have a wild card free. Right, who was after that? We're getting through them now. Nils. Apologies if I'm a bit... Just check that's the right team, because it doesn't say Nils on the name. Does that look like a Nils to you? It doesn't look like a Nils to me. Tell me if that's correct, Nils. It could be a nickname, I guess. That is you. Awesome. Just wanted to check it was the right person. Bloody hell. Good team. He's got Salah already. I really like that. I mean, I'm guessing he's a free hitter next week. Kind of has to be. Oh, it's not you. I'll come back to you, Nils, if that's all right. If you want to send me a different ID. We'll come back to you, mate, if you want to correct your ID. Not a problem. Mohammed's team. Roger, 7-7 instead of 2-4s. I'll look at that in a sec, mate. Mohammed's team. What would I do here? I'd probably bring in a Luton defender. Or honestly, you could leave it, but I'd probably bring in a Luton defender. I think a Luton defender, Doty in for Gusto. Why not? Probably do that. Doty in for Gusto. Estupinian to Doty, yeah, fair enough. Trocosia to Neto. Bench Garnacho or Madison. Well, Mohammed, the decision as to whether you want to triple captain Haaland, I think, is a simple one. Solanke, sorry. Because if you don't use it this week, the only other opportunity to use it is game week 37. And if you're not planning to use another chip in game week 37, i.e. bench boost, then use your triple captain. But you need to come up with a chip strategy, I'd say. And the reason I say 37 is because the other 4 players that I'd remotely consider playing the triple captain on, being Salah, Son, Saka or Haaland, all 4 of those are most likely to have a double in 37. So it's likely that you're going to need to use it in 37. And if you're planning to use another chip in 37, then it's probably best to use your triple captain this week. But yeah, there's obviously, excuse me. Sorry, folks. There's obviously a bit of doubt around Solanke at the moment, right? Alan Peck, I would get Son because he's on penalties. I think he's better than Bowen. And you could captain Son in game week 30. Oh, that makes sense. Bench boost in 37. Yeah, so use your triple captain this week, mate. Just do it. That's what I would recommend. But if your heart is against it, then don't use it. Right, Niels, I'm going to look at your team now. Yeah, Chong, I'm not massive on him, I've got to say. I don't think he's very good. There we go. That looks like a Niels. 96 points for Lee Fisher. That's a strong score, mate. Well done. Niels, let me know what you are planning to do or have already done, because I've got a blank canvas at the moment here. I don't want to tell you to recommend you to do stuff that you can't do because you've already done stuff, I guess. God, bench KDB or Foden? That is a question. I'd bench KDB. Yeah. You probably got to, haven't you, on recent form? Plans bring in Solanke for Haaland, Neto and Doty. And are you free hitting next week? Not free hitting. Interesting. Yeah, I don't mind it. I would... Ake v Liverpool is rough, isn't it? Yeah, you probably got to bring in Doty, haven't you, this week? I'd definitely say Neto's worth bringing in. Yeah, all right, mate. I like those moves. I don't need to do them in the team. I like those moves. I think it makes sense. Yeah, I like it. Now we've done 5 teams. Does anyone fancy doing a... Does anyone fancy an FPL quiz? I've got 4 Premier League / FPL related quiz questions. If anyone wants to do a quiz. I like to do the quiz to break up the deadline stream from looking at people's teams and worrying about Solanke. Just takes our minds off it. Lets us relax a little bit, you know. Here we are then. Test of your short-term memory. Who scored the most points in game week 27? So who was the top scoring player in game week 27? And while I do that, I will dig out the mini league code. Can you join mini leagues now? There's the mini league code for you, Nils. H because it's a mog. There you go. Few people saying Foden. We got a Kai Havertz shout as well. Oh, more people playing the quiz than 4. Let me know who you think. Who scored the most points last week? The answer, ladies and gentlemen, is Phil Foden. He scored 15 points last week. People saying Ben White as Foden. I'll give you the answer. Next question. So, this is quite an interesting one. While they have been on the pitch, which player has conceded the most goals this season? Now, it is an array of Sheffield United and Burnley players, obviously. But it's Wes Foderingham, Jack Robinson, Vinny Souza, or James Trafford. Which of these players has conceded the most goals while they've been on the pitch? I thought it was quite a fun question, this one. Because it's pretty hard. I would not know the answer to this, like cheating. You got to think, who's played the most minutes out of this lot? Because that means they've probably conceded the most goals. You know, but then you've got Burnley and Sheffield United. So which team is, there's lots of things to think about here. Foderingham and Trafford, people are saying. Interesting. Foderingham, I'll give a little clue. Foderingham is/was the Sheffield United goalkeeper. And James Trafford is obviously the Burnley keeper. Ladies and gentlemen, the answer is no one has said it. Oh. It's Jack Robinson. Played every minute so far for Sheffield United, I believe. Wes Foderingham, he's now no longer the first choice keeper for Sheffield United. Someone else is playing in his place. So the guy that's conceded the most goals is Jack Robinson. He's conceded, while he's been on the pitch, 65 goals. It's basically playing 5-a-side at this point, isn't he? Next question. This is a fun one as well. Which player has been caught offside the most this season? Is it Nicholas Jackson, Darwin Núñez, Anthony Elanga, or Son? North Star, I would say that depends on who your other goalkeeper is. If your other goalkeeper has a fixture in Gameweek 29, then it's worth it. But if you don't have a keeper with a fixture in 29, don't sell Martinez. Turner. I wouldn't do it. Keep Martinez because you'll need him next week. Oh, you're free hitting next week? Yeah, do it. Sorry, I missed that. You're free hitting next week. Do it. Why not? I think Villa concede against Tottenham. Darwin, Jackson, Elanga, Jackson. Definitely not Darwin. Interesting. Is it still worth triple captain Solanke? I'll talk to you about that in a second, Andy Eggleston. I'll talk to you about that in a second. I'll share my thoughts because, yeah, it's just something to think about. It all depends on what your chip strategy is for other game weeks. The answer, ladies and gentlemen, is Nicholas Jackson. He's been caught offside 21 times this season. Did you know that? I think Haaland, right? He's only been caught offside once all season. So, another question. Yeah, see, Shaniel's cracking it out same time as me. See, mate? We know. Which player has missed the most big chances this season? Darwin Núñez, Ollie Watkins, Erling Haaland, or Nicholas Jackson? Who has missed the most big chances so far this season? Jackson, Haaland, Núñez, Darwin, Jackson. Interesting. I've not forgotten about your question, Andy. We'll cover it again because I think it's something to think about. There's definitely a lot of thought that can go into that. The answer is, might surprise some, but it's Erling Haaland. He's missed 26 big chances this season, apparently. 26. He has missed, I'll tell you what, he missed an absolute sitter against Man United. An absolute sitter. He was about 3 yards out and he missed. He's missed some sitters as old Erling Haaland this season, let me tell you. Right, we'll just go back to your question quickly, Andy. So, is it still worth using the triple captain on Solanke? And in order to know the answer to that question, I need to change the focus on my camera in a second. But in order to know the answer to that question, right, you need to have a sort of a rough plan for when you're going to use your free hit, right? Not your free hit, your other chips. So, the other opportunities, I would say, to use your triple captain occur in Game Week 34 and 37, right? Game Week 34, you've got to look at the orange. I believe it's orange. I'm colourblind. So this is the Ben Crellin fixture grid, right? And he has predicted when teams are likely to double, right? So, potential double game week in 34 for Bournemouth, Crystal Palace, Everton, and Sheffield United. Are you going to want to use your triple captain on that week? Probably not, because the fixtures aren't that good. Game week 36 could be a triple captaincy opportunity for Chelsea. Could go for Cole Palmer, right? It's not too bad. But if I were to actually want to use my triple captain at anger, I would want to use it on 4 players, I'd say. Son, Salah, Saka, and Haaland are the other triple captain options. That would be my thoughts, right? Let me know what you think about that. But 37 is going to be a time where you want to use another chip, isn't it? Because you probably want to use your bench boost come that week. I will be. I know I'll be. So, Haaland, Salah, Son, and Saka are likely to double in 37. That's the other time you use the triple captain, but you probably want to use your bench boost then. Which leads me to think, if you've still got it left, just probably use it this week. I also think, I don't know what you guys think, I also think the triple captain is, even if used most effectively, the least powerful chip of the lot. Because a free hit and a wild card, they allow you to completely change your whole team. So, in my opinion, that's very, very powerful. The bench boost allows you to have 4 extra players in your team, and if used correctly, could be more powerful than the triple captain, in my opinion. So I think the triple captain is the weaker of the four chips. 4 chips. So I'd use it this week, just get it out of the way. It's my thoughts. My thoughts. Although I do know and understand that Solanke, there is a big risk about his injuries and stuff. But given the chip strategy you've just said to me, Andy, I would use it this week. And if you don't fancy Solanke, give it to Morris. Because, yeah, I'd really agree it's the weakest chip. On paper, it's like the most exciting one, isn't it, right? You've got one player that scores 3 times their normal points, and it's really exciting. But in reality, I think it's probably the weakest chip. Hopefully that helped you there, Andy. I think the front, mate. Victor, I genuinely, right? I am hard pressed between. I think you've got to add Darwin Núñez into that list as well. I think Watkins and Darwin Núñez are the second and third best strikers. You can't give it to Morris. You're probably right. I think it's between Watkins and Darwin rather than Solanke and Watkins. It's a tough one, isn't it, Ryan? That would be the logic I'd go for. Right, look at this. I feel like a celebrity. Ben is like, he's in a taxi, back of a taxi in Thailand, watching my stream at the moment. Big ups, Ben. He wants me to look at his team. Oh no, I can't forget his team name. I would do Solanke to Morris, Ben. Solanke to Morris. Haaland to Morris. Do it. Haaland to Morris, mate. Be brave and do it. Haaland to Morris, captain Solanke. Easy. And then buy Salah in game week 30. That's what I do, Ben. Nice and easy, mate. No, I wouldn't. I don't think Barkley's worth it. Just start. I'd actually start Foden over Gordon as well. No, not worth it. Not worth it in my mind, mate. Not worth it. The reason I said that, I'll go for it again, shall I? The reason I said that, no news as of yet. I was just going to look at it. We're going really historic here, aren't we? So the recent games between Man City and Liverpool, right? The last one was 1-1. Then it was 4-1, 3-2, 1-0, 3-1, 3-2, 2-2, 2-2, 4-1, 1-1, 4-0, 3-1. It's a relatively high-scoring game. Like, in most of those fixtures, I'd say 2/3 of the time, both teams score, there's at least 4 goals in the game. Yeah, 2/3 of the time, there's at least 4 goals in the game. And based on that, I wouldn't be worried about keeping Foden, to be honest. I'd rather play Foden than KDB, mate. Even if KDB does well and has a good game, I think his returns are more weighted towards assists. Anyone captaining Neto? That's a question. Oh, I can't see the message. He will free hit next week. I don't think it's worth it, Alexandra. I think Areola's all right this week. I think Areola's fine because he's got Burnley, where he should keep a clean sheet. If you've got any leaks. Any leaks? No leaks. Yeah, I don't think Neto for a -4 is worth it, mate. I don't. All right, I've got a decision on here, I think. I think I'm going to use my wildcard in Game Week 30 as well. I can't believe it, but I think I'm going to free hit and wildcard in subsequent weeks. And I think my wildcard team in Game Week 30 is going to be, I'm going to go for Kelleher and Writer. So I think that's worth doing. And then I'm going to have Gabriel, because you got to. I'm probably going to have Udogi. Defense is going to be quite hard to pick, actually. But then you've got to have Salah, Son, all the big dogs, haven't you? Because Salah, you've got to have Salah Game Week 30, I think. I think I'm going to be wildcard in Game Week 30. I'm going to use my free at 29, wildcard in 30. And then, I think, just based on the fact that Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Man City are all going to double in Game Week 37, I will pretty much have a good chance of bench boosting in Game Week 37. Burnley finishing can give Areola save. Yeah, exactly, mate. I think Areola's fine for this week. I think Areola is fine. When you look at the clean sheet odds, West Ham right up there. I think it's fine. I think it is fine. So yeah, I think I'm wildcard in Gameweek 30. I can barely believe it myself, but I think I am. I must say, there's an hour and a half to go to the deadline, right? I can't think of much else to talk about. Other than like waiting on Twitter for some Solanke news, I can't think of a lot more to talk about. I know what I'm going to do in my team, pretty much. There's not a whole lot more for me to talk about, I don't think. So shoot me any questions in the chat. Doesn't even have to be football or FPL related. But yeah, I honestly don't have a whole lot more to talk about. And the last thing I want to do is leave you guys wasting your morning with me talking crap on a stream. Palmer or Garnacho? Palmer, mate, because he's on pens and Garnacho isn't. I would make quite a lot of changes to this team, I think, Lee. I would. I'd get rid of Solanke. I'd get rid of Saliba. I'd put Raya in goal. I'd probably not have Foden. I'd probably have Son instead. I'd probably have Kelleher instead of Dubravka. I'd have another player instead of Wang. The reason for the wildcard in 30 as well is just the absolute need to get Salah in, because I think he's by far and away the best captain. And I have no way of getting to Salah at the moment without taking a hit. And my other opportunity to use the wildcard would be 31. And it's only 1 week before. So I think I'm just going to play in 30, to be honest, mate. And I think it sets me up well, once the doubles are confirmed in 37, just by proxy of having, a heavy hit of, a heavy load of Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool, Tottenham players. I'm going to be well set to bench boost in 37 anyway. Joseph, I find that question really hard to answer because FPL is what I have a YouTube channel about, which is one of my main hobbies and something I absolutely love to do. But Sky is a game in isolation I prefer. So for me, I say I like them equally. I can't decide between them anymore. FPL has been the key for me having this hobby, which I'm very grateful for. Getting to interact with you guys on live streams and stuff. I absolutely love it. And a lot of my mates, in-person mates, if that's the right way to say it. I don't want to offend anyone with that. But they all play FPL as well. So like the chit-chat that I get like in the social setting is about FPL rather than Sky. So I'd say I love them equally. Could do Glenn, but I don't know. I think free wildcard 30 is the way I'm going to play it. I get your point, though. I think the average will be 3 or 4, Ben. 3 or 4. Full 11, I'd say 70% of the game. No, it's probably a bit high. 50% of active players will probably have a full 11. Something like that. I'd say between 3 or 4 and by, I don't know, 60 to... I'd go 60% will have a full 11 next week. Something like that. What do you guys think in the chat? That's a good question from Ben, actually. I like Gross, mate. He'll take the penalties as well. Should I bench Douglas Luiz, Gordon, or I bench Gordon? Yeah, I think. Also, very annoying. Basically, I'm a competitive swimmer, right? And I had to take a couple of months out of the pool last year because I had an ear infection. And it was my own fault because I felt one coming on and I got in the pool anyway and swam. And then it absolutely just went mental. And it was horrible. I was in bed for like 3 days, couldn't really move. But I started feeling one this week. So I've stayed out of the pool and already I'm feeling a lot better, to be fair. So, but it's annoying because I can't swim at the moment. Scott, yes and no. I think, well, you think about it. Some people will have used their transfers to build a 11 anyway. I think probably, I don't know, I'd say a third of the game might have, like, if you think a third of active players probably have a team of 11, right? A lot will. And then people using their free hit as well. But think of that together, you know? I think that's a decent number. Oh, how did my Q1 go? Well, mate, not great. I'm still happy with my team. So my F1 fantasy team, I have got. Just have a look. I know my drivers. I've got Verstappen, who was my captain. So obviously, shock. It's amazing that only 80% of the game have him as well. So I had Verstappen, Leclerc, Alonso, Ricardo and Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg lost power in Q2, and Ricardo got out qualified by his teammate again. But then I had Red Bull as my constructor. I guess, Scott, the thing for me with a team for game week next week, right? With the way that the Premier League has gone this season, with the amount of goals that there have been, I'd be happy as long as I had a full set of 7 midfielders and strikers. So as long as I could play 3-5-2 or 3-4-3 and be loaded out in midfield and forward line, and then I missed a couple of defenders, I wouldn't worry, because I don't think there's going to be many clean sheets, but I do think there'll be a lot of goals because that's the nature of the league this season. And, you know, regardless, I'll just go on screen share so you can see the... I don't know, Lee. But you think next week... So Burnley and Brentford, there's going to be goals. Luton, Nottingham Forest, there's going to be goals. Tottenham, Fulham, there's going to be goals. And West Ham, Aston Villa, there's going to be goals. Are there many teams here that you could realistically back to keep a clean sheet? Brentford, maybe, because they've got such a good fixture against Burnley. Tottenham, maybe. And Villa, maybe. You know, but then they have good forwards. So, like, you're probably going to want double Brentford defence, possibly, in Tony. Yeah, I don't know. I just think I'd be nervous if I wasn't fully loaded in midfielders and forwards, if I didn't have a full team, but I wouldn't worry about my defenders. Hopefully that makes some sense to you, mate. I just play your Wolves player, mate, Dusty. Just play 8 Nori. Screw it. Obviously, it depends on your chip strategy, but if you're not free hitting next week, the last thing you want to do is take a hit to bring in a Bournemouth defender right now. Just play 8 Nori. Mate, Jack Martin, it looks genuinely, I am looking like I'm going to free hit in 29 and wildcard in 30. Because I'm in the same position. And I also am going to do it in 30 because you look at, for Game Week 30, you probably want Salah and Son, right? And looking at the Game Week 30, who is the best captain this week, in your opinion? I would say it's Salah, because he's got Brighton. He'd be my best captain. So I can't get to him easily. So I'm probably going to play my wild card 1 week early in 30 and get Salah. And then Game Week 31, Salah v Sheffield United is the best captain. You know? That's the way I'm thinking about it. There's some big decisions to make on the wild card, though. But we don't need to worry about that yet, because there's an international break between now and then. That's the good thing, I guess, is there's an international break. Thank God there's an international break between 29 and 30. But I do think Game Week 30 is the time to use your wild card. Let's see if we got any Solanke leaks. Looks like Neto's off to Liverpool. Doesn't surprise me, to be honest. Did think Bowen would be the best guy for Liverpool, though. Don't know what you guys think. I always thought Bowen was destined. Just having a scroll. Yep, Victor, have a good one, mate. I think I'm going to do my transfers and leave as well, because I do not have much more to talk about. I hope I helped you all anyway, but genuinely don't have much else to talk about. And the last thing I want to do is just keep you guys on the stream for the sake of it. Right. I also agree with you. I think Solanke is going to play both games too. Defenders. I don't think it's crazy, Gronkle. The only thing for me is... I'm not answering that, Liam, on YouTube. Sorry, mate. I'm not going to do politics. I would say neither of them, to be honest, and someone else, but I'm not going to answer that here. Ladies and gentlemen, should I do Botman to Smith or Kirkez? So I've done Martinez to Neto. That was something I was pretty much dead set on. But the next question was Smith or Kirkez. That was the next question. Who out of Smith or Kirkez? Just look at their minutes. 90-90, lots of 90s for Smith. He's a very regular starter. Kirkez, his minutes. Does that look like a nailed-on player to you? Doesn't look like it to me. I think I'm going Smith. I don't need a poll, mate. I'm going Smith. Smith was what I was thinking of doing earlier. He's played. He looks nailed on. He looks nailed on. We're doing it. Can't believe I own Adam Smith. Done. It's done. It is done. Saka, Vice, yeah, whatever. Makes sense. There we are. Right, I'll stick around till 10. Not necessarily, Liam. Depends on what your team is. I'll stick around for a bit longer, but like I said, I don't really feel there's a whole else to talk about. Like, yeah, so I'm probably going to leave it there. I'm just going to tweet out my team. I'll share my team with the world. Because you're probably in such a good rank, mate. Just keep playing a game. If you're having good weeks, the greens will come, mate. Game week 28. We did Martinez to Neto and Botman to Smith. I feel Smith has the best combined X-Mins and XGI of Bournemouth. Defense. So I've gone for him. Free hitting in 29 and probably wildcarding in 30. I want to put the eek emoji in because it is a bit of an eek, you know. Good luck. Good luck, all. And we'll put a 4-leaf clover on because we're a generous guy. Hashtag FPL. Hashtag FPL community. There's an emoji where you get two silhouettes of people next to each other, isn't there? I want that emoji. Where is it? There it is. Post. Right, lads and ladies, I hope you enjoyed that stream. Like I said, I don't want to keep everyone live talking to me when I have nothing left to say. I mean, my team's sorted. I hopefully helped everyone with theirs. Please shoot with any more questions you've got and I'll endeavour to answer them. But ultimately, I don't think there's a whole lot of... there's a whole lot to talk about, I've got to say. Does anyone want a team review done before we end? I'll do 5 more team well, I'll do some more team reviews. I'll do 5 more. And then we'll end it. How about that? If anyone wants to crack their ID or team name in, I'll look. And then we'll call it a day after that, I reckon. Liam and Ryan. Let's have a look-see, shall we, lads? Let's have a look-see. So Drafthound will know your team as per the deadline last week. So if you've made any swaps already, it won't show it. So yeah, just let me know in the chat if you've done anything with your team already. And then I'll make sure to include that, basically. Right, Liam's team then. I tell you what, mate, it is rare you see anyone with Bruno Guimaraes in their team. So I'd probably start Tony over Guimaraes. In fact, Johnny Evans. Bloody hell, mate. Liam, first question. Are you free hitting next week or not? Need to know if you're free hitting, Liam, I think, as to whether to decide who to bring in. I'll stop at Sport Cat as well. No free hit. No free hit. I would do Trippier to put Moreno in for Evans, fair enough. I would do Trippier to Smith. No, the Trippier, sorry, to Doty. Play Doty over someone else. And then I would also... That's rough, man. You know what? I just do Trippier to Doty and start Doty. That's all I do. Ryan has done Adam Smith and Solanke in. I don't know who you'd have bought in. I don't know who you bought in, but I like it. I guess you're doing Smith in for Trippier and then Solanke in for Adebayo. I presume that's what you're doing. And if you are, I really like it, mate. It makes sense. I wish you a good green arrow. Dusty Tones. 3, 6, 1, 9, 8, 5. You guys are keeping me going here. I was about to end the stream. You got loads of people popping in now. Dusty Tones, mate. Yeah, I mean, I just stick with that. I do. Ooh. Is he put in the chat? I went Bowen in for Hwang and Solanke for captain in for Haaland. Fair enough, mate. Yeah, I've got nothing to say. I think that's really good. Yeah, makes sense, mate. Makes sense. Sport Cat. I would start Palmer, mate. He takes the penalties. I like Palmer. I'd start Palmer. Feels all kind of wrong benching KDB, but I would start Palmer. So, thinking of selling Gordon to a Bournemouth or Luton mid, but which one? But I wouldn't do it. I don't think they're good enough. I don't think they're good enough to justify it. I just don't think they're good enough. Defenders and strikers, Doty and Solanke and Morris, and the Bournemouth defenders, they poo on pretty much anyone with a single game week. But midfielders wise, I'm not sure they're good enough. I'd always think Foden's better than KDB because he's scored more goals. Like KDB's returns are way more weighted towards assists. So I'd always prefer Foden. And he's cheaper. Significantly cheaper. I wouldn't do it Sport Cat. I'd just leave Gordon in. Because he'll also, I think Isak might be fit to be. I'd just leave Gordon in, mate. Just leave Gordon in. I don't think there's, I don't think you can hang your hat on Barkley, Tavernier, or Kluivert, or Chong. I've got to say, I just don't. You wouldn't want them in your team, mate. Trust me. Just check out the rest of the questions. Isaac already did Haaland to Morris and Trippier to Mengi. He's not free yet in 29. Very good. I like it. Go back to my team. That's how we're lining up. Thinking of set. He's already done that. Keep up the great work. Thank you, mate. Bowen, Foden, Palmer. You can only start 2 of them. Oh my god. Oh my god. That is impossible. If I did an expected points algorithm in my head, I'd put them equal. All 3 of them, I'd put them equal. I think you definitely have to start Palmer. You definitely have to start Palmer because he's on penalties. What does the chat think there? But Bowen, Foden, Palmer, start 2. I would definitely say start Palmer, so it's between the 2 of them. No worries, Liam, mate. Thank you for coming. It's between Bowen and Foden for me. Probably flip a coin on it, mate. Probably flip a coin on it. My chip strategy is looking like a free hit next week. And then I'll probably wildcard in Gameweek 30 as well. Because I don't own Salah and I don't have any easy way to get to him. And I want him. So I'm probably going to free hit in Gameweek 29. Wildcard in 30. And then hopefully I'll still have enough good players to bench boost in Gameweek 37. Hopefully the title race goes down to the wire, which surely it will, right? So yeah, that's my plan. Who to bench? I have Gordon, De Bruyne, and Foden. De Bruyne. Bloody hell, that's hard. Yeah, go on then, banner boy. Start Bowen. I think you probably got him, haven't you? I think Palmer's got to play with the penalties. I just really like penalty takers. I'll finish with team reviews now, mate. Might be wrapping up the stream soon. Sidemen Shorts, good to see you, my friend. Start Porro. Take a -4 for Region in 29 for attacking potential. What? Joel, I'm so confused. I wouldn't be doing any of those. I wouldn't do a defender in for a hit this week unless it was a Bournemouth player and I was free hitting next week. Who'd start between I'd start Porro. I think they both concede, but Porro is better from an attacking perspective. Would you sell Haaland and Ake to Solanke and a Bournemouth defender for a -4 and a -4 for Son in for Hwang and start him over Gordon? I wouldn't do the hit. Haaland and Ake to Solanke and a Bournemouth defender makes sense, but I don't think Son scores 4 more points than Gordon. I don't think that's guaranteed. I prefer Foden to KDB. He plays more minutes and he scores more goals. I prefer Foden. I do. Took a -8 for double Bournemouth defence and hopefully they get at least 1 clean sheet. I'm hoping so too, mate. I've got Neto and Smith now. These are my boys. I'll be wildcarding next week. Crazy. Well, free hitting next week, wildcarding week after. Crazy times. Crazy. Who's the best Bournemouth defender? Adam Smith, mate. You can see it. I've got him in my team. Adam Smith, bro. Big ups, Adam Smith. Would you do a minus? No. No, I wouldn't take the hit, mate. I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's worth a hit. FPL being FPL, Solanke gets a red card in his first game. Good night, Nils, mate. Have a good sleep, my friends, in New Zealand. I think Solanke gets wheeled out in both games. Flashback to the deadest red card, mate. Unreal scenes. Thankfully, I didn't have him captain. I just brought him in. No, I had him captain, sorry. Triple captain Solanke. Right, we'll go over this one more time because I think this is a big question and I've got it in my thumbnail, haven't I? Would I triple captain Solanke if I still had it left, right? So here's my thoughts. Yes. Because other opportunities to use the triple captain chip are times when you might want to use another chip. And I think the triple captain chip is the least powerful of all the chips, in my opinion. The next time you'd want to use the triple captain is game week 37, I reckon, because the other 4 players in the game that I'd even consider triple captaining, right, are Saka, Son, maybe Watkins, to be fair, but he doesn't have a double. Saka, Son, Salah, Solanke. And they all are likely, not Solanke, yeah, that makes sense. And Haaland, sorry. And they all double in game week 37. That was an absolute mouthful. The other 4 players I would consider using the triple captain chip on are the best 4 players in the game, right? So that is Saka, Son, Salah, and Haaland. Those 4, right? And they all double in 2037. Now, most people are looking like they're going to use a different chip in game week 37, i.e., they're going to use the bench boost. And if you're going to use your bench boost in 37, I think you use your triple captain in 28. But if you're not planning to use a chip in 37, then you could save it. It could be, but you want to use it in a double, really, don't you, mate? Would you have Saka or... I'd have them both. I'd absolutely have them both. Someone else has to make way there. They're 2 of the best players in the game, mate. You've got to have them both, in my opinion. You've got to have them both. I'm just going to build a cheeky little wildcard draft, actually, while we're there. I'm just going to build myself a cheeky little wildcard. Ignore the fixtures. I'm just gonna play around a sec. I'm going to go Gusto. Actually, no, James is coming back fit, isn't he? So I don't want to go Gusto. We'll leave it. We'll leave it. I don't need... No one needs to see me building a wildcard team, do they? Nah, I don't think you can... Actually... It's not the end of the world, considering you're probably looking at the fact that Chelsea have a double game week in 30. Yeah, you could do that. Not massive on it, though. Dusty tones. Good decisions, mate. Just look back on that as good decisions and bad luck. Just keep doing transfers like that because they're good transfers. Up to you, Banner Boy. If you think you use your bench boost when you think your bench is the strongest it's going to be in a season, in my opinion. So if your answer to that question is yes, is your bench the strongest it's ever going to be? Then I think you use it. Right, other than that, lads, I think we're probably done because I have nothing more to talk about. Obviously, the thing I would recommend is people keep their eyes on Twitter because people will inevitably, someone might have some Bournemouth news. Yeah, neither do I, GT. I think you need to see how Liverpool line up when Trent's back. But I do quite like Bradley as an option, I've got to say. I think I might be picking him in my team and just take the risk. I think my Liverpool trio, I might have Kelleher, Bradley, and Salah. That could be my three. Just saying. I would buy Son, mate. He takes the penalties. Start one of Gusto. Oh, mate, Gabriel. Every day of the week, mate. Twice on a Sunday. Right, I think I'm going to leave the stream there if that's all right. Would I do -4 Porro to Doty? No, I wouldn't. Don't do that. Not worth it. I think I'm going to leave the stream there, chaps, if that's okay. I'll leave you all to hopefully a green arrow. See you next deadline. I'll be here for the next deadline, and I'll also be here with another video tonight as well. I'm going to make one this evening. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled. Might have a couple coming out this weekend, actually. I'll do a buy and avoid video tonight. Best players to buy and avoid. And then tomorrow, I'll do a free hit draft. So we'll go back to this stream. Go back to this screen. I wish you all the best. May your arrows be green. Oh, I put the wrong screen on. Have to do it. We'll have to do it smoothly. There you go.